You're pixelating. She's not.
Okay, that's fine. We're solid green, though, as far as that, and we are not dropping any frames.
Good.
So
then that's different ISP, different problems.
Yep.
It is serviceable. So, you're moving. You're not freezing. I can hear you clearly.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see.
We are
good. I think it is post-show.
And Seema says so far so good. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm testing all the movements. All
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
No freezes.
Okay. So it's Cox. Great. Okay. Perfect. Mew, I have no idea what I'm doing, so there we go. I have a theme. Let me just test this. You guys hear that? Okay.
Yep.
Whenever you are ready, give us a countdown and take us live.
Alrighty. Let's start in 5, 4, 3, 2. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
Join the AIE WinterCon 2021 for some frosty fun.
AIE Alliance is turning 2.
Aww.
Adorable. Mm-hmm. SWTOR ends a very long story arc with new things that are in store for 2021.
All of your favorite weekly events are back, baby.
And we are our own guests and have completely forgotten how to podcast.
These things happen. All that and so much more coming up right about now.
Bringing you the latest news from the AIE gaming community from planet Earth and beyond. This is the AIE Podcast.
And welcome to episode 358 of the podcast celebrating you, the Alea Yocta-esque gaming community. The Die Has Been Podcast. Greetings, Guildies. This is Mewcow. And to my virtual left, possibly physical as well, is Mikala.
Hey guys, there are some pumpkin chai waffles in the Guild kitchen. Yes, this week, waffles won out.
And to her right and downstairs, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, is Ted Semi.
I need spreadsheets again. I have alts. I have altitis.
Yes, and this week we're going to be doing a host show, and we're going to be talking about our altitis a bit. So welcome us.
Yep.
Yay! Our show.
Yep. We're okay. So we'll talk about what we're doing on our break shortly, but first, let's go ahead and cover what's been going on for this week and beyond.
AIE News.
As we alluded to in the start of the show, AIE AIECon Winter 2021. We're looking at the weekend of January 22nd. There is a large post on the Guild website at aie-guild.org. We also have a link in the show notes. You're going to find sign-ups for board games and D&D will start this week, and you'll want to get in there and get a slot. Take a look at the AIE website and Discord channel, which is AIECon-January-21 for more information. And Ted, what can you tell us about the con?
So we are going to have a number of people running D&D games and other games. It's going to be family board games as well, or virtual board games, possibly some Jackbox. Just a lot of let's get together and make what we would normally do, like in the game room or the virtual, physical gathering when we do Frog Pants games or BlizzCon in the guild hall, and make it virtual. Marcus and a couple others have really been working their tail off to get this all organized. There is a schedule up. There will be time slots available to sign up, so make sure you get signed up for it. And like I said, definitely keep your eye on the Discord channel and that guild page, the AIECon-Winter-2021. And Yeah, it's exciting. It is the weekend of January 22nd through the 24th. So, it's going to be a little bit of each day have something scheduled. There'll be a town hall. Give me just a second. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. So we are going to do just like a normal, AIE gathering. We are going to do presentation and panels. We're going to kick it off with our guild town hall, and then we'll have a closing event to wrap up the weekend. Possibly a live version of some of our AIE podcasts. We'll have to see. So we may go back to back, or actually,
okay,
that's the weekend we would be broadcasting anyway. So,
yeah,
exactly. So it may just dovetail right into this. Everything will be on Twitch. Also shared live in Discord. There'll be some casual games, some board games, D&D. So everything kicks off 6 p.m. I hate you, Max. I hate you so much. Hang on, doing math. Everything kicks off. Math? I can't do math. 6 p.m. Central.
Okay, is it?
So that would be
5 p.m. Eastern. No, 7 Eastern, 5 Mountain, 4 Pacific.
4 Pacific, yeah. So that's when the Guild Town Hall kicks off. There'll be a 2-hour of podcast live, then some casual game sessions on Friday night, and then Saturday is casual games, board games, D&D. We are on here for the AIE Podcast live, and then the closing event will be 2 hours after when we normally start. So, yep.
Cool.
Sounds
I'll have
good.
to take a look at the D&D signups because I've been known to roll a few dice.
Yes, exactly.
Indeed.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that update, Ted. And again, there is a big post on the Guild website, and there's a Discord channel, AIE Con-January-2021, if you want to keep your eyes there for signups and events. All right. Mandatory Fun Night. It's a new year. Most of our mandatory fun nights and other events are back in process. Mandatory Fun Night, where the fun is mandatory, but the attendance is not. On Sunday, we have WoW Classic at 2 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, STO, right now, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Monday, Guild Wars 2 at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, SOTOR, 8 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern. I was already doing it max time.
Yeah,
8 p.m. max time. It's in my brain. I'm sorry. Tuesday, Final Fantasy 14 casual rating, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday, Final Fantasy Fun Night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, Final Fantasy Progression rating, 9:30 Eastern. Yeah. I see you smiling in the chat, Max. Anyways, Friday, ESO, 9 p.m. Eastern. Friday, Final Fantasy Late Night Fun, 11 p.m. Eastern. Saturday, Lotro at 8:30 Eastern. Saturday, Final Fantasy Maps Night at 9:30 Eastern. And New Braid, also on Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern.
All right. And in Guild Podcast news, Fleet Action Report, Episode 25, Guest Stars Part 2, Nicodemus and Greebog fight through the internet issues. Shocking internet issues. Who has those? During the live show. To bring you this episode, we are back with more of the guest stars of the Star Trek Online and the voice acting they have done to help bring STO to life. And in Fleet Action Report,
please raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by internet issues during what are you trying to start the show? Sorry.
Yeah,
or
I'm in this update and I don't like it.
Or streaming.
Yep.
Yeah. Fleet Action Report 26, Enemies Part 5. Nicodemus and Greebog are back for another episode of the Fleet Action Report. This time they go into some of the servitor races of the Iconians. Come and see the combat abilities of the 3 of STO's greatest threats. And speaking of Max, in SOTOR The Escape Podcast, 2021 Predictions, Episode 366. They kick off the new year with their 2021 predictions and more on the episode. And not to be left out, the aforementioned Marcus from the organizing the AIE Con Working Class Nerds. Marcus and Nick sit down with the Chimeri. Chimeri is a Twitch streamer who specializes in Star Wars video games content, specifically SWTOR's PvP. They talk about the new High Republic comics and books, a whole lot about Chimeri's rise to Twitch streaming success. You can find Chimeri at twitch.tv, the Chimeri, Kymeri, and you can find Marcus at twitch.tv/MarcusB814.
And in Imperium Ludi news, we have a dual universe update. They have been hard working developing new ship designs to sell to other players in the game. Is that PKH Vasco has begun selling a warp shuttle and is receiving good reviews on it. The planned cyberpunk-style city is coming along, and we will see some design changes coming soon. Probably nowhere near as many bugs as cyberpunk itself.
Probably not.
Alioth Aerospace Expo for January was pushed back after the last major update, allowing everyone more time to prepare their ships to be showroom ready. And a rework of one of the org's original ships is underway to make it more viable to be sold to other players within the game. Sensing a theme.
Yep.
Update 0.23 came in the game on December, causing major changes to crafting and industry, which has affected the way everyone plays the game.
Okay, and in WoW news, New Braid has restarted after the expansion/winter break. They'll be running LFR for the next few weeks, so there is a eye-level requirement of 170 to join. Alliance update. Alea Octa S Virtus on Earth and Ring US will be coming up on its 2-year anniversary in March. They are recruiting. They invited over 800 characters. Welcome aboard Cam this morning. They were invited their 800 character. Welcome aboard Karn. Thank you. Words are hard. This morning, with 2 more invites approved. They continue to get new people who are either coming back to the game after a many-year gap, our Horde friends checking out the Alliance side, or some people who are either new to WoW or looking for a large family friendly casual environment to play in. They had new members that found us through Frog Pants. Welcome aboard Yoper, and Fez's wife came back to the game after a year away. Mythic runs happen weekly to help folks see content and gear up for raid. Remember, you can always find the guild officers in Discord at the LFO channel by pinging them at officers. You can request WoW guild invites via the in-game system by searching Alea Octa S Virtus, even when there are no officers online. Just remember, you have to go back to guilds and communities to accept the invite once an officer approves it. There's additional updates over on our website. Look for the AIE Warcraft Alliance update entry on 10 January 2021. And in WoW Classic news, can you tell that I've been dealing with the non-US dating? Burning
That's why I wrote
Crusade
it that
rumors. Way. I appreciate it, as I now have to date everything that way. Burning Crusade rumors with a launch date before the summer vacation seems distinct servers, so Classic will remain. Hopefully we'll get some solid information from BlizzConline in February. Next Rammus is in full swing, which is the last of the Classic raids.
Mew, remind me, because my brain wants to say, did they bring guild banks in Burning Crusade, or did they bring that in during Wrath? I thought it was Burning Crusade. Like at the end of Burning Crusade to deal with all the raiding issues.
That sounds about right. That's when things were really starting to get going. Like that, There was a lot of raids in Burning Crusade, and I can see that being a thing. But yeah, I'd have to check the logs.
Exactly. All right. And switching from fantasy over to sci-fi, SWTOR. During the holidays, we continued with MFN on Tuesdays and Mega each month. They ran in the new year, not only with their 2021 MFN this week, but also the first Master Mode Friday night of 2021. During MFN, they took on some of the world bosses they don't normally do, which provided a chance for some guildies to see them for the first time. The end of the year in SWTOR brought one last story beat to the finale of a story that has been going on for essentially 9 years. Yeah. You thought vanilla lasted a while? No, this was 9 years.
Yeah.
And with that also came the seeds of a new story. We have hints to go on, and we think the new villain of the galaxy might be Darth Malgus. If it is him, it should be a wild ride. Malgus is a nuanced character who's been on both sides of torture and slavery. He has known unbridled power, but also love and lost. He's been a ruler and a rebel. There's a lot of speculation about who else might be involved, and we're all looking forward to see how it plays out. And tune in Tuesday nights for MFN and Friday nights for Master Mode Flashpoints and Achievements. Stay tuned for more info on the January Mega.
And in Final Fantasy XIV news, we do have one big update coming January 21st, and that's patch 5.41. It'll hit, and this one's going to likely focus on crafting, at least crafting for the Ishgard restoration. The Sky Builders rankings will complete then, so expect a mad dash to craft, because if you want to get those goodies, you need to finish it up, get up high. I very much expect lots of crafting. Of course, we just had 5.4 come out with the last bits of story. We may see a 5.5, but I guess we'll see. I think they're going to have their own little kind of BlizzCon-y thing coming before too long.
Nice.
The last little bits of story to kind of not only clean up the last bits of Shadowbringers, but to give you those seeds to the next story, whatever it might be. That's what you're going to see, and it's probably going to be lots of Empire. So I hope you like going after Imperials.
I mean,
and not the Star Wars
who
types.
doesn't, right?
I do actually like going after Imperials, but I mean the Star Wars types.
Yeah,
When she's flying her TIE fighter.
Oh, shut up. Do shut up, darling.
Call back.
I hate you. I hate you. All right. Evidently, Max is the only one we dislike today. In ESO news, 2 weeks after the holiday break, the first MFN on 2021 happened on Friday night. They chatted about how they all spent the holidays while clearing public dungeons.
It's not what
As
I read.
usual, there's a...
It's not what I read.
I read it the way it was written. Thank
You
God.
did. You did very well.
You know what? I know Kenny. She would do that to me.
Yeah.
She would so do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Wow. We're just going right to AIE After Dark, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like I said,
as
we
usual,
didn't remember how to podcast. Come on.
Yeah.
podcasts are hard. As usual, there was at least one death caused by gravity to make sure MFN for the year started out correctly. Probably Kenny. Now that the holidays are behind us, MFNs are back on the schedule. January 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, there'll be a global reveal event on Bethesda's Twitch channel to introduce the 2021 chapter and year-long adventure.
Nice.
Wonder how they're affected by Microsoft buying them.
Yeah,
Be
that's going to be
how
real
that starts to
interesting.
bleed into it.
Yeah. All right. And in STO news, they are expecting a big announcement as well sometime soon in regards to the anniversary event. The thing that they are currently doing is the Admiralty event, which increases experience from the Admiralty system, and they continue to work on the Spire. So just pop into the STO channel if you have questions, and they'll let you know what we're working on.
And a real quick update from Guild Wars 2, since they haven't had any new content in a bit. The only thing we have going with us is that we have a Dungeon and More Night coming up Friday, January 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you are hoping to do dungeons there, that's the time to get on.
All right. And in Electron news, during SNL, they stayed casual to end the year and to start the year. They'll be going back into P versus MP this Saturday. 2021, they'll be trying to run more group content. As guildies get to its higher level, they'll try to do past endgame, going into current endgame stuff. And the next update is supposed to bring game performances improvements.
Right. That news, let's get back to us.
Yay!
All about us.
Yay!
Yay!
All right.
So,
I think
I guess we need to...
Start up there, upper left.
Upper left. My upper left is Mikala. So
Yeah.
All right.
So what are
So
you
what
even up to?
About 4'10", 5'2" in my favorite heels.
Accurate.
Yes, I've seen lots of heels action over the break.
Yep. Let's see. So what have I been up to? Read a little bit during Christmas break. I got the book for Lovecraft Country, so I'm reading that. Not enough reading because I always need more books. Let's see what else. Did not get too much gaming in, even the dice style, because all the holidays happened on Thursdays, and we have a regular D&D game on Thursday. So that did not happen near as much. And we didn't do our campaign with Ro very much over the holidays. Just real life kept happening. But we did have a lot of fun. We did a Call of Cthulhu holiday one-shot that ended up being a two-shot because, well...
Isn't that normal?
Yeah. Well, the Halloween one we did was an actual one-shot, which was really nice.
Pretty scary.
Yeah. Oh, very scary. It's called Cthulhu. It was the Plainview Academy massacre. So, our characters were the ones that survived this massacre at this academy. So for Christmas, we took the same characters, which are now these, poor kids who are in desperate need of major psychological help, and they were trapped in a house over the holidays, where they were supposed to have gone. Basically, they had been in an institution for a few months. They were sent to this house by this government agency just to lay low until after the new year, and then they would talk to us. And it was like one of the party one of the other survivors, their parents' house, and their parents were in Europe, which was all fun and games until he was sent a ancient Tibetan knife, and then these really weird creatures came to get the knife, which appeared to be almost like Santa's elves.
Oh,
yeah. They were not Santa's elves, but they were masqueraded as such. And then it was a terror in the middle of the woods near Arkham. The good thing is, though, we all survived with 6 hit points between all of us.
Wow.
We all almost died. Yeah. And it's not like D&D where you have like a lot of hit points. Like you have usually between 9 and 12 hit points.
Wow.
So we did all survive. We all remained sane. And we did achieve the objectives. So with Call of Cthulhu, you you get sanity points and stuff like that. To depending on how well you do. So we did achieve all the objectives. The biggest one being to make sure they didn't get the knife. Because had they gotten the knife, they would then be able to do a ritual that would have, brought about the end of civilization.
As usual.
A minor thing.
As usual. Right. And this is on the shoulders of, a bunch of kids between 16 and 18.
Yep.
So it is a lot of fun, though, because these are side characters that we kind of just play occasionally. And then also with the same group, we did a side adventure where we put aside our 10th level characters, and we are doing a short adventure. It's not supposed to be a one shot, but a short adventure where we're playing characters in an area called Winterhaven, and basically during the festival, the village was attacked by the Snow Queen. And a bunch of children were taken, and we have to save them. And the first thing we needed to do was defeat the Krampus.
Gotcha.
One does.
Which then, there was a harp that could control the Krampus. I am playing a bard. Now, my bard's a blade master bard, so she's not really like a normal music. Like, her magic is done through her blade work instead of the normal music, but she has music abilities. That's what bards always going to have that. So we were able to steal the harp, and I made a natural 20 on my performance check.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was
Style.
delightful. Yeah, with style. With
Wow.
style. Yes, we did in fact get the
Little
Krampus out of
flourish.
Krampus. Yeah,
Yes.
So, so now we've gotten through the Krampus. We're trying to get the heart of the Ice Queen so we can free her. And we just went back in time 10 years to where the village had been attacked, and her family, which were the ruling people of the area initially, were basically, her father was killed, her mother was captured, her little brothers were killed, which is what made her the Ice Queen. But we actually successfully got her and her brothers out and changed history. So we have basically we have a locket that represents half of her heart. Now we need to find out what we're going to do with that other half. And the fun thing with it is there was no battle. It was all skill checks. So with D&D, you normally you're fighting. But we actually went through and said, okay, you need to get from point A to point B. How are you going to do it? You need to get 6 successes on your skill checks to succeed, or if you get 4 failures, you failed.
Right.
You can't use the same skill more than once.
Right.
And 2 people can't use the same skill back to back.
Right. It sounds
So
familiar. Sounds really familiar.
We got all successes. We did not get a failure.
Oh, nice.
And we're low level characters. We are
Right.
3rd level characters.
Yeah.
But we all went with whatever was strongest. Yeah. In fact, we got 7 successes in a row.
Oh, nice. Very
out of
nice.
the 6 that we needed. So yeah, so we've been kind of doing like a lot of holiday themed games. So that's kind of how I geekily spent, and a lot of cooking, a lot of baking. Even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, we didn't have a huge party. We made a special dinner for the winter solstice, where I upped my game on my signature dish chicken thingies.
Yep.
Which are made with homemade croissants.
For
and
the
it's
family.
really great
For the
family only.
Not
It's
for
never
fuel.
it's not being made this way for a party with 60 to 70 people.
No.
Yeah, and then we had Cam's parents over for Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Made a nice dinner for them, went to my mom's for Christmas Day. And we have really small families.
Yeah.
Which makes it very nice. And then New Year's Eve, instead of doing what we normally do, which is go to our friend Erica and Dennis's house and play board games on our pajamas, we did a nice spread of hors d'oeuvres. And then we because we always have Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve in our pajamas, I kind of declared it fancy dress night.
Yep.
So we all dressed up and it was fun.
Yeah, it was. Yep, we had hats and sound makers and all that, and we actually
fancy
made
clothes
it, and we actually made it to midnight, sort of.
The kid went to bed early. The roommate and I put on Mandalorian, the behind the scenes stuff at 11 o'clock because we want something we have to focus on. And then I remember Tet giving me a kiss at midnight saying Happy New Year.
Yep.
So we made it to midnight. I said we weren't in bed.
No.
Oh, and we played Cards Against Humanity Family Edition, which is still it's not as bad. It's not, but it's still bad. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not like there's no cringeworthy stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still rather rude and delightful, which is funny because when the kid was 14, we were playing the regular version, and now that she's 18, we are playing the family version.
Yeah. Yep.
Soon you'll be doing apples to apples.
That was when she was little, Disney version.
All right.
So that's what I did on my Christmas break.
Okay, well then I guess it would be Ted Sammy's turn then.
All right.
And so what have you been up to?
See McCullough. Anyway,
You gamed though. You played a lot.
I did. Yeah. So most of my holiday, because I actually took Christmas week off, and focused a lot on the WoW expansion, We did we did some Hyrule Warriors. Ryan and I have been working through that since that got released. That's really fun to do 2-player, especially in the vehicle fight where she's driving and I'm just the gunner, shooting. So that's fun.
Should we be concerned about our daughter's driving abilities?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
Every single barricade. No, she's actually really good driver. But that's, it took a while to get the hang of anticipating when she's going to swing left as you're trying to aim, swing right and you're aiming left, and all of a sudden your reticule's not where you thought it was. But it got better. So we had a lot of fun doing that. I still need to get back and finish up Final Fantasy VII Remake. Have not had a chance to do that. But most of my time has been in the WoW expansion. I don't remember last podcast if I had gotten my Night Elf up to 60 or was on the way, but she is 60 and I think like 180 item level gear just due to the Covenant upgrades and the Covenant armor and the world quests and all that moving up. But she's anima starved right now, so I've been and I'm not focusing on anima because it's, you have to get 1,000 every week, and then I just go, okay, well, I'll upgrade this piece of armor since I'm not raiding with her. But I'm doing Arms Warrior with her, and I notice how much better it's performing than Fury is on Tet. In fact, I saw in the hotfix notes for WoW coming up with realm restarts, they're just bumping all of Fury's abilities by 8%. That's how far behind it was. So that will be interesting to see how that works, because I like to do some of the world quests and stuff in both tank and DPS. It depends on the mood. So I got her caught up through the Covenant story. She's still behind on the Maw and Torghast because I can't stand doing that on more than one character. Like, I have to pick and say, okay, I'm going to work on this. I'll do Torghast or the Maw today on this character, because it's not fun. It's not as bad because I did get the mount to drop during the hunt, so I now have a rideable mount since I'm not a druid or a worgen. I now have a rideable mount, which has made life so much easier to get around. But still, it's like you get to where you need to go and then realize there's a bunch of elites here, or there's a bunch of stuff you got to work around, and it's just it's not fun. And Torghast is pack a lunch. You're going to be there for at least an hour. It doesn't matter what you ran. I did make it all the way through the 18 floors of Twisting Corridors Layer 1. I did that as tank. I always do Torghast as tank.
It's a completely different experience.
It is. It's interesting because I was dreading opening up Torghast on my Shadow Priest, but I got her to 60, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll take her in to rescue Thrall, because that's the first, intro to Torghast you do. And stuff was just melting. And I'm like, she's at like a 150 maybe item level. Like, she has no gear. Didn't even go through Revendreth at 60, because she did the Threads of Fate. So hit 60 and basically reported to the Covenant and started on that story. And that's terrifying, McCullough.
And spiders. Sorry, I forgot about the spiders.
Yeah, she posted in the Discord what they fought. That's terrifying. But so I got Threads of Fate, did that. And so Torghast, at least for the story, doesn't seem to be too bad. We'll see how it is once I actually start the quote unquote real corridors.
I noticed too that like the story Torghast is so easy after dealing with like the real thing, and it's night and day changes and whatnot. But and then go ahead.
No, it was like, so the 18 corridors, I basically did the same strategy I normally do, which is I pick up basically single target abilities because I have enough AoE damage on Tet as a protection warrior that I focus on what's going to get the most single target damage. So like if I get an ability that says anything affected by your shout takes 30% more damage, great. That works for single target and AoE. But if I get the one that says like if you use execute 30 times, it's now usable all the time. So that's like I had that by like floor 8. So I had execute from floor 8 to floor 18 as my filler. So it was basically execute, shield slam, thunderclap, and that was my rotation all the way up. And then everything, it was like disempower, thunderclap and whirlwind drawn the 3 closest enemies. You're healed for 80% of your whirlwind and your thunderclap damage. It just by the time I think I had 80 anima powers by the time I hit 18, and the boss just melted. It was night and day from what I've seen from other people who like hit floor 12 boss and bailed out, or they were fine up through 17, hit the 18th boss, and then that was it, game over. So yeah, but I've gotten the Maldraxxus story current on Tet. Very interesting who we uncovered behind everything in Maldraxxus. I think that's setting up the next raid, honestly. If we don't see that character in a raid soon, I would not be surprised. My arms hunter, my night elf, is in Ardenweld. So she's done that story, and that was fun, getting to see more of the Ysera storyline, rescuing souls from the maw that were specifically from Teldrassil and some other stuff. And if you haven't, once you rescue the souls in Ardenweld, you can go talk to them. They're sitting around the inner ring of the Covenant base in Ardenweld. So you can go talk to them, and each of them have a little bit of RP dialogue.
That was rough as a horde character because every chance they get, they are yelling at you.
Oh yeah,
which it's understandable. It's understandable. Your faction's the one that burned their place down. So
yeah,
they're a little cranky about that, and they remind you of it constantly.
Yeah, the other thing that made the Twisting Corridor, because Max just reminded me, I got the 25% increased anima drop rate at one of the lower levels, like 2 or 3. So I had increased anima gain through the whole tower.
Jeez.
Yeah. Crazy. And then I just got my priest to 60 yesterday. She's Kyrian, and I am just starting the meat of that storyline. She finished 60 at Renown 4, and I was Renown 8 or 9 by the time I actually started into the story, just doing all the open up the Covenant, go get 1,000 anima, go get 5 souls from the Maw, that sort of thing. So I'm actually ahead of the story. I'm further ahead of the story as far as Renowned is concerned. Like there's story just waiting that I have to get through. So that's what I've been up to. And then I'm probably going to take my enhancement shaman through the Venthyr line. So we will see how that goes.
Seema has a real quick question.
Yes.
Now that you've done Twisted Corridor Layer 1, can you go into Layer 2 whenever you like
Yes.
regular Torghast?
Yep.
Awesome.
And it's also account wide. So now that I've opened up Twisting Corridor Layer 1, finished it, which opened up Layer 2, I could take my Net Elf, who hasn't been into the Twisting Corridors, into Layer 2, which is odd that they did Twisting Corridors as the account wide unlock and not.
Well, it's not that hard if you think about it. because twisting corridors, you're not supposed to get anything useful out of it. It's all visible stuff, right?
And mount.
Yeah, cosmetic. And that's why, because they don't care if you get that account wide. But the other stuff, it's that soul ash. That's why you don't get soul ash for the twisting corridors. You get it from the regular Torghast. And if you had just had your power character just power through everything, and then you just limped through the last layer every week, then I think that would just be too overpowered for everyone, and they'd cry foul that I don't have that powerful class, so I can't do that. Blah blah blah. So I can see that riling people up, but
that makes sense. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I would recommend, honestly, if you haven't made the choice on an alt, unless you've got a solid group of 5 people that you're going to be leveling with and chain running, dungeons and other stuff, Threads of Fate is slow right now. There are ways to make it faster, but a lot of it is go to Bastion, find the the area that says help clear out the Mossworn of this area. And the problem is it's a meter 0 to 100. You get 1 for killing a regular person, 2 for killing an elite, maybe 3 if you click a box or dispel something. So it makes sense because you want to kill a lot of stuff because then your experience goes up, but you're just doing the same area over and over, for a while, especially in classes that have trouble with a lot of mobs, because those areas are very heavily packed and you're the only dense one there. You're almost better off doing the storyline to 59 and then switching to Threads of Fate at 59.5, and that way you don't have to go through all of Revendreth unless you really like Revendreth.
I was going to recommend that too. Is from my experience, I have one character I've done Threads of Fate, and it's honestly just kind of boring.
It's grindy as heck.
Yeah, it's all grindy. I mean, yes, you might be further ahead with Renown, and getting anima stuff, but it's so boring. In fact, when you start and here's the other thing: when you start Threads of Fate, you don't get that nice Covenant intro. You're just okay. You're part of the Covenant. Bye.
Actually, I think they changed that because
did they?
When I got on my priest, when I got to 60, I went to Oribos, talked to the voice of I call her the voice of the prophet, but that's not it. The voice of the arbiter. And then she says, "Okay, go to your go to your Covenant area and report to this person." You go to them, and they, at least for the Kyrian, they took me in and did the ceremony.
Yeah, but when they must have changed that, because when I first did that, because I did the full thing on a Kyrian, and then I for my hunter, which I figured would have an easy time doing things on their own and grinding, I did the Night Fae, and they're just okay, here's your Night Fae abilities.
So you didn't get to see the play?
No, but luckily, my next character, my druid, was going to be Night Fae as well. That's why I had one that would just go straight through and one that was going to do the full experience. So I had my druid go through the full experience.
Yeah,
because that's what I found too, is that it's so much faster. Because my hunter is still level 55, but my druid's 60 and has been 60 for a while. Yeah. So it's so much faster having that main story quest. Thanks Final Fantasy 14. But it's you just burn through that. And in fact, I actually figured out the best way to do it is, if you have an idea of what Covenant you're going to pick, when you get to that Covenant in the main story quest, focus on their side stuff.
Yeah, all your
don't worry about the rest.
Get all your
exactly. Yeah. Leave the other Covenants alone and only do the main story quest.
Yeah,
and consistently so far, that's been enough to get me to 60. And then I hit 60 right about in Revendreth, maybe a couple quests extra, and then you're good to go. You get your Covenant story, and it worked well. But I'm glad to hear, because I know they've changed a lot of things. I know they changed it so that it was no longer you have to choose one period. Like that's how it was in the very beginning. As soon as you show up in Ouroboros, so it's like, are you Threads of Fate or are you doing the story quest? And you can't change your mind. So they changed it at some point so that you can start the main story quest and then change your mind if you get partway through. Like you get to 60 and you're still way nowhere near the end. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you fixed it yet again to allow that little opening montage thing, because it felt so anticlimactic. Just say, I'm a Night Fae. Okay, see ya.
No, 100%. Yeah, if you don't get that intro part, that's like half the flavor of why I joined. So that's why when I did my Night Elf, I was worried about that. So I took her through the leveling process. She hit 60 in Ardenweld. Had to do all of Revendreth as 60, and then just to make sure that she got the intro. But I was pleasantly surprised. At least my priest doing Kyrian, you go to Ouroboros once you hit 60. You talk to the voice of the Arbiter. They tell you, go to Bastion, talk to this person. That person says, oh, we're so glad you joined us. Let's, get you introduced to the Covenant, and then you get the full tour of the Covenant after the ceremony. Nice. So that's what I've been up to. What about you, Mew?
A lot of the same stuff. A little bit different order, but pretty much, yeah. One of the things I've found interesting, and I don't know if it's just I've gotten rusty into the DPS side of things, but it feels like the expansion for tanks. Like, and it's not just 100%. Like it just. I see so many more tanks. Like, there's no longer a tank a bypass queue. It's all healers, because no one wants to play a healer. Because, well, it's like, as a healer, like Torghast is not well tuned for healers. That's just, they haven't figured that out yet. It just doesn't feel right. It's like you're not only you're not doing a ton of damage, but you can, of course, you're going to stay alive the whole time, but it takes forever to whittle them down. And Torghast is kind of designed to, you burst it down. If it's alive too long, it's going to really start messing with you.
Yeah.
So, but as a tank, you can just go through, like, you start cautious and you're just kind of picking a few off at a time, but then you start getting some powers and you're like, I can take off, a quarter of the room. I can take off half. Now I can take the whole room on. And it's like, you're just burning through things as a tank, and you're doing DPS. So
yeah,
like the big difference I've had is, because my Paladin tank is so tanky, like, all I do is just get DPS stuff. Right. So
yeah.
So that's been the big difference. Is in the past, the tank would survive everything, but would take forever to kill stuff. Well, now with Torghast,
now
getting
it's
those abilities
and DPSing. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, you're just doing these crazy attacks that just wipe stuff out. So it's Whereas DPS, you're kind of afraid, like, you're gonna die constantly.
Right. You're squishy.
Yeah.
It's a race to see, is it going to kill me, or can I kill it first?
Yeah. Right, where the tank has the power, but to not die.
Well, they've got like 5 different buttons they can hit if they are about to die, and everything's fine. Whereas DPS, you're glass cannons. Everybody's a glass cannon, and and then, like I said, the healer is just super slow. And from what I've heard too, is if you are going to do Torghast, either you do it solo or you do it with 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
Because apparently
if you add
they haven't figured out.
It scales wrong.
The balance is off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Too much points,
so yeah,
enough DPS.
Pretty much. So then that, so it makes it an awkward thing, because, like, I'd love to go in with like a friend or two, but then you'll have a bad time the whole time, or I have to wait till I can get a whole group of people, or I'm soloing all the time.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I've gone through
with the one that drops the puddles constantly. I hate that one in the group.
Until you get the Ravenous Anima ability, and then you can stand it all and it heals you. But it's a requirement for that one, it seems, because otherwise there's
if you don't get that
everywhere.
Early, you're screwed on that run.
Yep. But yeah, I've gone through Kyrian with my Paladin,
nice.
Night Fae with my Druid. I have the Hunter who's halfway through there as a Night Fae, and then I recently started my Monk, who I'm planning on doing Maldraxxus with, because it seems like they get an interesting extra brew if they go Maldraxxus. Because yeah, well, and, the way I think of it this way, like it's a tank monk, so tank monks, they're brewmasters. They brew stuff. They've probably smelled some worse stuff than what's going on in Maldraxxus, honestly. Because they've probably, and it's just another interesting smell. So it's like, okay, let's see what we can brew with this stuff. So apparently they learned to brew something from Maldraxxus, and that's their Covenant ability. Oh, nice. So that sounded interesting to me. So I figured I'd do that, and then I still haven't quite figured out who I'm going to do for Revendreth. I'm figuring maybe a demon hunter, or maybe a warlock, maybe a rogue. Yeah, well, any of those three would probably work pretty well there. But it's been interesting going through the story. I've gone, I'm up to date on the Kyrian story. I'm getting there on Night Fae. I've definitely enjoyed the Night Fae probably the most. Like the Kyrian was good. It's not knocking Kyrian at all. But Night Fae is probably still the more meaningful one.
Yeah, Night Fae and Maldraxxus so far are very solid. The from what I heard John say, until maybe 2 weeks ago, the Venthyr one's very meh, until you start uncovering the same thing that you find in Maldraxxus. So then it gets interesting. It's interesting because have you noticed on the Kyrian side, the Maldraxxus and the Kyrian crossover?
Mm-hmm.
So those two crossover, and then when they got current, they've now started crossing over to the Venthyr. So at least the Maldraxxus side of it is now starting to explore the Venthyr side. I don't know about Kyrian.
Kyrian actually has a really good way of going to all the covenants.
Okay.
And you'll see that as you move along. So they actually found a clever way of doing it. The Maldraxxus just makes sense because they're supposed to be the protectors of Shadowlands, so it makes sense. Yeah, they're supposed to go everywhere and protect everyone, so it makes sense. Yeah. So that it's been a great story so far, and it basically it does feel a little bit like a more meaty version of Legion. So
absolutely.
Because since they only have to focus on 5 if you count them out. But they only have to focus on 4 major storylines instead of the 10 or 12 we had for Legion. Which were all great, but it's really stretched them thin, and they had to break it down to 2 for BFA, just to catch up with things. But yeah, it's been great so far, and I've definitely been enjoying it. I finally got the Druid to where it's raid ready for our upcoming fun this week, and I have the Paladin, as I've actually been raiding with all throughout the holiday break. Mm-hmm. So that's been fun.
How are you doing in Castle Nathria?
We are 8 of 10, and that's only because we got distracted by shiny stuff in Ulduar.
Yeah, when it was giving out good loot. Now that it's not.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. That's one of those
fun
things. Why? Yeah, that's just it. Yeah, well, and the funny thing is, it happened in regular raid too. Like they're like, oh, you guys are getting. Oh, wait, you're getting a lot of loot. Okay, let's tone this down. That's too much. Yeah, because like Anima, they wanted this expansion to be also a loot drought. Like it's on purpose. Yeah. They're wanting to do it, but to kind of make up for it, the way that they're doing the vault, the weekly vault, kind of helps make up for it because you get a little bit more choice. Yeah, it's not just some random piece now, and you can actually like try to figure out this piece might be better than that piece, yada yada. But yeah, no, it was a nice time, and it was nice to go back to Ulduar and just kind of run through all that, and we got some fun stuff out of that raid, and didn't get any mounts, but it was still a fun time there. So, and then we finally went back to normal to try to catch up, but we're behind, so we're gonna have to push through again because we can't have those other AIE raiders getting ahead of us. So
we speaking of the vault, I got basically Snake Eyes this week on 2 characters. I got the same wrist piece I was wearing on both characters.
Oh gosh.
Well, and that's why they give you the chance to get so many different types.
Right.
No, sorry. I agree. Now, it's 3, 6, and 10, right? So if you ran both LFR wings, you should at least get 2 pieces of loot this week.
I think it's 3, 7, and 10, actually. Yeah, I think they did that on purpose.
That's just rude.
But it's again, it's they're trying to make gear, harder to get. Like
They're
just
trying
like
to
the
make it
anima,
meaningful, and it's.
they're trying to stretch out the content.
I know it's rough. It's rough.
It is rough, yeah. Yeah, so they're definitely a lot of give and take, and they just there's been a lot of complaints in the past about they're just giving away loot, they're giving it away. So
Yeah.
because people complained about them giving away loot,
They take it away.
Yeah,
pretty much.
But the thing is that even though like if you are an active raider, your gear's probably better than it. But if you're not like a huge active raider, your covenant has actually been keeping you pretty up to date. If you keep up on the covenant story, you are getting better gear. Like every 3 renown or something, they up the level of gear you're getting.
Oh yeah,
in the world quests and from the actual stuff, and allow you to upgrade your old stuff. That's the other change I've liked.
That's a huge.
Yeah, because back in Legion, you got your class gear, but that was it. Like you did whatever level it came at, that was the level it was. Whereas now you can actually upgrade it. Of course, you have to use anima, which is hard to get. But it's nice that like if you want to help push yourself, and you're not getting it in dungeons, you're just not getting in the raid, you can help yourself otherwise. So that's been a nice change to see.
Yeah, because you have 8 pieces of gear that this week could be 190. Next week there'll be 197, which is only 3 item levels below what normal drops.
Yep.
Does normal drop 200? Yeah. And if you put your legendary in a ring or a trinket slot, as opposed to one of the main armor piece slots, you're doing well. So.
Yep. And that's the other reason why we started pushing back on normal, is because some of our fellow raiders, their really good legendaries were locked behind higher parts of the raid, so they were either didn't have their legendary yet or had to make do with a subpar one. But
right.
So it's like, let's push through, let's get these legendaries out because it's a guaranteed drop.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely been lots and lots of WoW over here. The only other thing is, of course, it was the holiday season. I like to hit as many other games as I can to have all their holiday stuff. The WoW one, of course, is just the presents for the the grandfather orc, giving us fun stuff. But I did enjoy the one over in Final Fantasy 14, getting a lot of mileage out of they gave out a snowman mount, which is just hilarious to. Yeah, it's hilarious to see, because essentially it's you see the snowman until you move, and then you see that it's your character in the snowman, and they're hopping around like it's almost a potato bag race, and they're holding the head of the snowman and hopping around like this. So it's kind of hilarious to see, and it's even funnier when they start flying, because you can't tell, is the head flying and that you're holding on for dear life, or
right.
Yeah, it's a funny thing to see. But yeah, that was a fun little story. The whole meaning of holiday season kind of quest. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Enjoyed running around in Fallout 76. Had some new content come out for the holidays. Not for the holidays, but during the holidays, where they had the Brotherhood of Steel come stomping in. So that's been fun to get back in there and see what they're changing there. It's coming along. It's definitely a solid game now. I highly recommend that.
Nice.
And also Genshin Impact had a nice content update and a limited time event during the holiday season. It wasn't a holiday thing, but interesting enough, it was a snowy mountain that you went on top of. So
cool.
It was at least if you're in the northern hemisphere, it was a very
Christmas
holiday-like experience
type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
And that was fun. So yeah, there is no drought of games right now. There's just so much going on, and and WoW is keeping a lot of attention, but at the same time allowing you to do more maintenance settings. So once you catch up in renown, maybe a day or two,
daily chores. Yeah.
Well, not even daily chores. Like I basically, per character, because I want to try to give as many of my characters time as possible, I can essentially do it every 3 days. Like that. Like this day is good for this character. The next day is for this character, because you have the colleagues now instead of the emissary quests.
Yeah. I just tend to log in every day because I'm doing the anima conductors and making sure that I get those pointed.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Once you get the 4 anima conductors reinforced, then you can buy the random legendary item from your guild quartermaster, and it basically gives you a random legendary power that you don't have. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot to do. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and hopefully everyone out there is having a lot of fun. I've definitely seen a lot of activity in the guild, which is nice to see.
Yep. Very cool.
But I guess that's enough out of us.
Should we do our question of the show real quick?
Yeah, we have a question of the show. What is the
do.
geekiest thing you gave or got for the holidays this year?
All right.
We'll start back with Mikala.
Right. Well, I think the geekiest thing I got, even though I don't play the game, Tet decided that I needed some appropriate Star Wars Vanguard or Star Wars Squadron, some Vanguard Squadron merch. So I have a fabulous new hiking sweatshirt with the Rebel symbol on the front and the Vanguard symbol on the back. I have it's not the best color for me, but it will be great if I ever, need to make sure I get noticed. A orange t-shirt. With the same, and then a really cool black t-shirt that has the view from the from an X-wing looking at a TIE fighter.
Nice.
So yeah. So I got like a lot of girly stuff, but Tet made sure the geeky side was taken care of.
That's good. And how about you, Tets?
I think the geekiest thing I got is a toss-up between the Mandalorian Beskar necklace and the Everyday Astronaut. I got a shirt, a long sleeve shirt from Everyday Astronaut, another one that says Nominal on it. So yeah, I got geek spoiled. And I think the geekiest thing we gave was a bunch of streaming stuff to Rob.
Yeah.
So she's starting to stream. So she now has the ring light. She has the camera.
Second monitor.
She has the second monitor. And she got a second Nintendo Switch dock. And we got the Elgato.
Yep.
So she can stream on the Elgato. So she's all set for that. What about you, Mew?
For me, the geekiest thing I received was Mrs. Mew got, well, not for me, but for the house, this neat a vault symbol that said, Pruitt Family Vault, and the number was our house number.
Cool.
So that was a pretty neat thing to have. So yeah, that came like a week ago. But yeah, that was probably the geekiest thing I received. And the geekiest thing I gave is I got her a bunch of Renaissance stuff since we didn't get a chance to go this year.
Jeez.
Yeah, I basically just got a bunch of really nice Renaissance gear because they were, of course, they're trying to keep things going. So we were able to buy a bunch of stuff from them. So that way, we didn't get to do the usual yearly thing, but we still got
here.
Yeah. We got a little bit of the taste of it,
Yeah.
We were scheduled to go on March. Yeah, we were scheduled to go on March 22nd.
Yeah. And they've already canceled this year's, so.
Right.
Yep.
Well, you'll just have to come to ours once, because hopefully by then things will be.
One hopes.
Yeah.
That would be delightful and delightful.
Yes. Alrighty, so. Sounds like that's going to be our show for tonight. So while the chat room begins suggesting show titles, we want to thank ourselves for joining ourselves. So thank us ourselves.
Yay!
We're the best.
Yay!
All right. And if you have questions or concerns or comments about that, I have concerns. You can email us at maybe
that's
not
a different
concerns,
podcast.
guys.
That's a different podcast.
Yes, it
different.
is. All right. If you have questions or comments about our show, you can email us at podcast@aie-guild.org. You can follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. Mew is at the Mew Cow. I am at Cyberwave, and Tet is at Ivory Tiger. We record live with videos when it works every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Max. I really shouldn't encourage him, should I?
No, you shouldn't.
I shouldn't. All right. You can join the chat room.
That's why SEMA doesn't heal him.
I wouldn't either. You can join the chat room and play along with us at our website, aie-guild.org/podcast-live-stream. And our Discord server for chat is aie-guild info.discord. For past episodes, you can see them on our YouTube channel. Look for the AIE Podcast. Our theme is composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul or visit his website, andrewallenmusic.com.
And now it's time to play all of the great AI member segments we received this week, including Ask Buxley, who is in our chat room and suggesting show titles.
Sure.
Cute.
And next time, it's New Year, so we're working on our guest lineup. So we'll let you know when we figure it out. So until then, AIE, this is Mewcow.
This is Makala.
This is Tetsemi.
And this has been the AIE Podcast.
Yay!
Hey.
All right, showroom, I hate to cut and run, but we are late for the next thing we need to do by like 30 minutes. So we will talk to
We
you
need to get
later.
dinner out in 30 minutes. So
Exactly.
Thank you guys for being awesome. I'll let you. I'm gonna start dinner if you guys want to figure out the title.
No, we'll take care of it. We'll get the show title.
All right, awesome.
All right, bye.